Good morning. Since we're kind of in the Christmassy season, I thought I would tell you about my all-time favorite Christmas movie, Miracle on 34th Street. Well, you remember it's the story of the wise for her age little girl, Susan, and her mother, Doris, who just happens to be in charge of the Thanksgiving Day parade in New York City. Everybody watches that, right? But after seeing behind the scenes of the parade production and seeing all those fake-looking Santa Claus actors, Susan's convinced that there's just not a real Santa Claus. Well, this movie is all about belief. In Susan's eyes, it's seeing is believing. So when she meets a man in a proper red Santa suit who says he's the real Santa Claus, well, she looks at him skeptically and tells him he's just a nice old man with whiskers. Now, in her mother Doris's experience, well, she's learned that believing can lead to disappointment. And she was in a relationship that she was very disappointed in believing in someone else. So she has put up her guard and decided she's not getting fooled again. But as the story unfolds, even as Doris is dealing with her own belief issues, she's trying to encourage Susan to rethink her belief and reconsider that there just may be a real Santa Claus. Because you see, this new Santa Claus at Macy's, he's the epitome of all the goodness that Santa stands for. So how can you not believe in him? And, as Santa says in the movie, faith is believing when common sense tells you not to. And that's said a few times in the movie, so hang on to that. Now, as the story gets toward the end, we watch a very disappointed Susan. But she was encouraged to do an affirmation. So she's sitting in the car. I believe. It's silly, but I believe. And then, as if a Christmas miracle happens, both Susan and Doris, thanks to Santa, find a way to believe. They finally see it when they believe it. That's how belief works. So maybe this is my favorite movie because I can really identify with the whole idea of believing and not knowing what to believe. You ever been there yourself? Well, I was raised in the Catholic faith, and of course, they tell you just to believe blindly and never question anything. That was required. So when I was in grade school, I had a question, and I went up to my teacher, who happened to be a nun, and I said, if Jesus was Jewish, how come we're not all Jewish? Well, I was sent to the principal's office for that, and I never did get an answer to my question. Still think about that today. But I believed in Jesus and, of course, all the saints and the Virgin Mary. But, I don't think I ever believed in Santa Claus. One of my first Christmas memories was being plunked on somebody's lap. He was a large, strange man with a white beard. I looked at him and I screamed and I cried until my embarrassed mother whisked me out of there. Well, besides, like Susan said in the movie, if I wanted something for Christmas, I just asked my mother for it, and she went to the store and she bought it for me. There was no old man flying in the sky, dropping gifts down the chimney. Of course, we never had a chimney, so maybe that was why. So, and I remember my mother, she was really a little bit like Doris. She once believed in a Prince Charming that didn't work out for her, so she was pretty skeptical herself. So that's the way my skeptical life began, not sure what to believe. and I was always kind of hoping for a Christmas miracle. Now, Anita Moorjani, she's one of my favorite authors. She has a quote. She says, "A miracle is when your mind gets out of the way so that divinity can do what it needs to do." I like that for a miracle. So where do you get your beliefs? Oh, maybe from well-meaning parents or religious organizations, schools, maybe from your friends or watching the media. There's a lot of places that try to tell you what to believe, what you should believe. But do you ever ask yourself, do these beliefs really ring true for me? Maybe we don't do that often enough. That's an important question, though, because what I've determined is your beliefs really create your life. And as it says in Proverbs, the simple believe anything, but the prudent give thoughts to their steps. Something to think about. I've got an example from Speaker Paul Martinelli of how our beliefs kind of shape what we think. He said, "How do you handle it if you get a leak in your roof?" Well, the first thing you do is get a bucket and put it under the leak, right? But then what do? Well, you maybe get a bigger bucket so you don't have to change it as often, or maybe you just have a real clever idea and say, "Oh, well, if I put a filter in the bucket, I could probably drink that water." No, of course not. You fix the leak, right? You get to the source of the problem and you fix the leak. You don't need a creative solution or workaround. All you do is what you can to change the result. So if you want to change any result in your life, you first have to look at your beliefs. It's really how cause and effect works. Your beliefs cause a thought, and your thought creates a feeling. Feelings generate actions, and it's only by action that you get to change the result. Let me give you an example of a belief and see what you think. Your birth order in the family determines your success in life. The oldest child is always the most successful. Do you believe it?
No.
No, I can see, Lori, why you wouldn't say that. Well, you think about what is a belief. Okay, a belief is an acceptance that a statement is true or that something exists. So if you're the oldest child, Janet, you might believe that statement. But there are two ways you can be fooled. One is to believe what is not true, but the other is to refuse to believe what is true. Okay, here is another example of a belief. See how this one flies. Wearing a mask provides protection against the spread of COVID-19. Do you believe that one? All right, well, a belief is something that you accept as true, and it's also a firmly held opinion or a conviction. Now, in both of these examples, your beliefs cause you to make a decision about the truth of the statement. These could have been beliefs that were given to you, or beliefs that you figured out on your own. But what makes something true? In order to believe it, you have to think it's true. Well, here's a definition of truth, and this one came through Abraham as channeled to Esther Hicks. It says, it's only true because someone made it true by giving their attention to it. What you are saying is because someone else gave their attention to it and by the law of attraction brought it into their being. So you might not really agree with it, but if somebody else thinks it's true, then, well, maybe you consider it, right? Well, your basic beliefs are like the GPS. They help you navigate your world. Some beliefs have little consequence in your life. I mean, I believe chocolate to be superior to vanilla ice cream, but it doesn't really matter, does it? But all your beliefs are really filters that shape your perception of the world. What you believe about yourself is where a lot of your beliefs begin, and it's the most important one. If you've heard of speaker Tony Robbins, he says it this way: our beliefs about what we are and what we can be precisely determine what we can be. The power of belief. So you decide what's possible for you. It's not your birth order, or your SAT scores, or maybe some collective belief. That's not what determines what's true for you. Success coach Darren Hardy says it this way: our beliefs either burden us or embolden us and our inner potential and the potential of our future. They control everything and everything we do or cannot do. So of course, you're influenced by your parents from birth, from your friends, from all the people in your circle. Everything you think is affected by those beliefs. But Hardy goes on to say, never ask advice from someone who you wouldn't want to trade places with. That's a good one, don't you think? Now, during this past year, this past few months, many of our beliefs have been upended. Do you feel that way? Our beliefs about our work life, about our relationships, and what really makes us happy in life. We've all kind of questioned those, haven't we? I know I've found myself in the last few months saying, I can't believe somebody believes that. Does that ever occur to you too? Oh, sometimes several times a day I think about that. Well, let's think about why people believe what they believe. Some people believe things based on facts. And some people believe things because it's what they want to believe. No matter how ridiculous some beliefs sound to us, there's a significant portion of people who just relish simplicity. Think about it. People don't want to have to consider possibilities. They don't want to have to figure things out. If you just make everything black and white, get rid of the gray areas, the nuances, it just simplifies everyone's life. And that explains the popularity of so many collective beliefs. Just believe it because somebody said it's true. It doesn't matter if it's based on falsehood or facts. Keeping things simple and making solutions easy, it's what makes people feel safe. It's probably because our brains are kind of lazy. The more effort it takes to make a decision, the less comfortable we are going to be about it. And the easier it is to make a decision, then we will be more comfortable with it. When something in our life slips out of balance, like these last few months, we'll notice it, we might complain about it, but after a while, we just accept it. We just get complacent. But one area of your life where you should never become complacent is in your own core beliefs. That's the most important part of your being, believing who you are and what you stand for. There's a Belgian author by the name of Emile Kammerts, and he said it this way: when men chose not to believe in God, they do not therefore believe in nothing. They then become capable of believing anything. That sounds very powerful if you think about it. So identifying your core beliefs is a great place for you to verify the truth of any of your beliefs. A few years ago, when I began to kind of question some of these beliefs that were inserted into my brain through my youth, for instance, I have to prove to God that I'm worthy of his love. Anybody ever heard that one before? Well, I started searching for some alternate beliefs, something that felt more comfortable and more positive. And through Unity, I've really discovered, for me, 4 major beliefs that changed the direction of my life. So here's the first truth, the first belief that I've adopted. I believe I am wonderfully made, and so are you. The same God that created the universe and the heavens, the Grand Canyon and Mount Everest, that's the same God that created you. And God only creates 2 things: perfectly and abundantly. So how can anything be missing from you? What do you possibly have that you can prove to God or yourself that will improve the perfection that is you? The second truth, the second belief that I've adopted is this: I believe I have infinite potential. Now, we all hear that a lot from personal development gurus. You can do anything you set your mind to. But I really believe that all of us have infinite potential. You can do, be, or have anything you want in life. It's just that so often we're surrounded by people that can't really see for themselves, let alone for you, what's possible. We're just brainwashed with the idea that we're not good enough. And that, well, maybe you're worthy of good, but not me. But in Hebrews, the book of Hebrews, it says, "Do not therefore abandon the confidence that is yours. It brings a great reward." God has given you that confidence. You just have to see it. Now, the third truth that I have adopted, the belief that my dream is real. Now, a dream or a vision is something that is bound to come to pass. The only reason you have a dream is because it was put inside you for a purpose. Remember that thoughts are things. And everything you see around you, this room, the chair you're sitting in, was once a thought in someone's mind. And it became part of the physical world. So whatever you have in your mind is perfectly capable of becoming your reality. This is taken from the obscure Gospel of St. Thomas, which is kind of interesting. Didn't make it in the Bible, but it's a really good thought. That which is within you and expressed will set you free. That which is not expressed will eat you from the inside. Just think about that. Letting out what's in you is why you're here. And that fourth truth, belief, is this: I believe my dream chose me. You don't choose your dream, it chooses you. And as much as you have a dream, the dream is you. Just think about what you desire in your life, the relationships you want, the freedom you'd like. What are you seeking? What would you like to leave in this world? That dream, those desires have chosen you. But here's the thing. If you don't do anything with your dream, I think it goes somewhere else. Have you ever had a really great idea? Oh, something that could change the world. But you didn't do anything with your dream. And then next thing you know, somebody's making a fortune off of your idea. Sound familiar? So what steps are you going to take to bring your dream into the world? The world needs your dream. Whatever your desire, know this: your dream is bigger than just you. It will have a ripple effect throughout the world and can change someone else's life as much as it changes yours. So these 4 truths, these 4 beliefs that I have adopted, I'll review them again. I believe I am wonderfully made. I believe I have infinite potential. I believe my dream is real. And I believe my dream chose me. When I was at a place in my life where I didn't believe any of those truths, I couldn't even see those truths. I was confused and I just felt powerless. No matter what I did, it wasn't enough to make me feel I was worthy of living a happy life. But when I opened my mind to a different way of believing, my own purpose and my own ability became obvious. To use my words to help awaken you and others to your potential. To create real change in your life, you need to just clear out those beliefs that really are not serving you well. So here's a few ideas, simple things to get you started. Number 1, transform your negative thinking. It's critical to replace those negative thoughts with new positive beliefs. It starts a whole journey to well-being. If you're having a thought and it doesn't feel good, stop thinking it. Think of the best feeling thought you can grab onto. Number 2, unlock those limiting beliefs. Sometimes the flaws in your thinking are obvious, like thinking vanilla is better than chocolate. But when you have a belief that's not serving you, you need to uncover that and really look closely at it. If what you believe does not make you feel peaceful, then that is a limiting belief. It's an easy test to take. Okay, 3rd thing you can do, strengthen what's already working for you. Now, all of your thinking isn't negative, of course. There are probably some things in your life that you're very positive about, right? So based on the certainty that there's always a little room for positive expansion, applying affirmations is a way to expand your success in things that are already going well for you. Just think about little Susan. I believe, worked for her. And lastly, have appreciation at the present moment. The most important thing you can do to transfer your mindset into something positive is to be here now. Think about all that's wonderful in your life, in your world at this moment. See the beauty and be grateful. Appreciate how far you've come on your journey and know that God has much more in store for you. We are all divine. We are all made of the perfection in the universe. It's just that our beliefs have not always caught up with that perfection yet. This is by Franciscan friar and author Richard Rohr. We worshiped Jesus instead of following him on his same path. We made Jesus into a mere religion instead of a journey toward perfection and the union with God and everything. That shift made us into a religion of belonging and believing rather than transformation. So your job is to begin your transformation. And it comes from believing that you're an infinite being. You have the power to influence anything in your life through the power of your beliefs, your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. And remember, as Santa said, faith is believing what common sense tells you not to. I believe. I believe. Thank you.